Hello everyone, my name is Lauren Antone and I'm the Senior Marketing and Events Coordinator at MAR, as well as the producer of our free webinar series. Our webinar today is Social Media Disasters, Stop Making These Mistakes, based on a true story. This webinar will cover the most common mistakes that real estate licensees are making when using social media. We will review the disasters, the successes, how to keep your advertising compliant, and how to bring value to your clients. After our live session, the webinar will be recorded and added to our website at marealtor.com. If you have any questions throughout this session, please type them in the bottom of the chat box on your screen and we will hold a Q&A afterward. Our presenter today is Kimberly Allard. Kimberly is the broker owner of Century 21 Professionals in Braintree, Massachusetts. She was the 2017 recipient of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors Real Estate Education of the Year. In 2017, she was inducted into the Realtor Political Action Hall of Fame, which at the time had been achieved by less than 750 of over 1.2 million Realtor members. In 2013, she was elected president of MAR and lends her time and talents to chair and serve on numerous NAR committees, as well as serving on the NAR Board of Directors since 2010. In 2010, she was not only the Realtor of the Year for South Shore Realtors, but was selected as the MA Realtor of the Year. She was awarded the 2016 Public Policy and Advocacy Award from MAR. She is the Federal Political Coordinator for Congressman Stephen Lynch. She was elected as 2006 President of the South Shore Association of Realtors and received the association's Outstanding Service Award in 2007. Kimberly is approved to teach real estate continuing education in MA and holds a seat of the Board of Real Estate Brokers and Salesperson for the Division of Professional Licensure in the state of Massachusetts. She is a certified RPR and ZipLogix trainer. Kimberly has used technology throughout her career to separate herself from the competition to get noticed. Now, over to Kimberly.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you all for joining me today. It's a little past 2. We're going to dig in right away. I hope that you pull something out of this, and we're going to review a lot of information. So just make it your goal today to pull one thing out of it that you could employ into your business immediately. I would also like to start by saying I'm going to show a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to talk about things that can be done differently. And, you know, I'm not passing judgment on anyone out there. I have made all these mistakes myself. So we'll start with that, and we'll move forward immediately. Okay, so let's see. I'm pressing my down button here. Nothing's happening. And we're going to go right into what are we talking about today. So we're talking about social media. Now, social media, you know, we categorize that to mean things like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. There's a lot of different platforms out there. Whatever you're working with is whatever you're most comfortable with. You don't have to be on all of them. You can be on one. I think it's important to be consistent wherever you are, but each one of these platforms attracts a different audience, if you will, and perhaps a different generation. But we're going to talk today about Facebook, but again, they're all pretty similar in that in their fashion of distribution electronically and how you create that distribution. Okay, so let's talk about the problem. Here's a post, and I will tell you that there were no consumers harmed in this presentation. You're looking at this and saying, wow, here's a post that Kimberly made, and why can she do this and I can't? Well, first of all, I'll point out that if you look right under my name, there's a lock there, and this means that this post was locked down. It was only visible by me for the purposes of this demonstration or this presentation, and therefore I deleted it right after I posted it, but nobody was able to see it but me. Most of your social media posts are certainly going to be available to the public. But here's the problem. Who does Kimberly work for? The consumer has a right to know. They have a right to know, and we are required to disclose our status as licensees. So a lot of you are out promoting your properties, and I know that you're saying, my seller wants the property sold. I want to get them under agreement with the best terms, and I'm going to get out there on social media. Well, that's great. You know, I commend you. I think that's all of our goals. But here in this demonstration or this example, you see a listing. Again, I made up the address, I made up the property, and the consumer looks at this and says, wow, this is a solicitation, this is an advertisement. The person here says, message me or call me or whatever the call for action is, but the consumer has no idea who I am or that I'm a licensed broker or an agent. So we move forward to the next example, and here's another one. Come visit me at my open house on Sunday, 1 to 3, Main Street. Here's my phone number. Again, the consumer has no idea who I work for. Now, I'm going to take it a step further and tell you that I am a broker. I'm a licensed broker in the state of Massachusetts. But because I am a broker, that still doesn't give me the right to go out and advertise under my own name. And I'm going to ask you another question. If your goal here is to truly advertise property for your seller, to get them activity in the property or promote the property, then why in the world wouldn't you be using your brokerage name? And I'm going to argue again that none of us are bigger than our brokerage. With the few exceptions of just some folks that have done an incredible job of branding themselves, most of us here in this column, most of the people that I know across the state, none of us have a name. Kimberly Allard is not bigger than the name of my brokerage. So if you are truly advertising a property in the best interest of your client, you would always want to use the name of your brokerage, not only for SEO, search engine optimization, but obviously recognition, brand, etc. So think about, why are you actually out on social media? Okay, we're going to move on. Here's another example, coming soon. Now, this webinar is not discussing the, whether you like coming soon or not. You want to refer to MLS, the MLS that you subscribe to, what their policy is on coming soon. But regardless, let's just assume that I filed this properly with my MLS. It is a permitted coming soon listing, and I'm out advertising it. Look, let's talk about what still is missing here. The problem is the consumer does not know who the brokerage is here. But wait, I have a hashtag C21. Well, that's a nice try, but C21 is not the name of my brokerage. My brokerage name, as we'll see as we move forward, is Century 21 Professional. So an abbreviation would not work. If you work for a Keller Williams, KW doesn't work. If you work for any other brokerage, any type of abbreviation is not going to work. And then you see the Allard team. Well, I don't have a team that I call the Allard team, but if I did, the team is not the name of the brokerage, and it is still not permitted for me to go out and advertise under the name of that team alone. Now, if I said the Allard team at Century 21 Professionals, then that would be fine. But in this case, I can't let the consumer think that the Allard team is the brokerage. Now, it could be the Allard Realty team. It could be the Allard Realty Team LLC. It doesn't matter. That's not the name of the brokerage that I am affiliated with. So again, what are you really trying to do? Are you really going to sell this property on Facebook? I don't think so, especially on your personal page. And you know, a lot of people will argue with me about that. But I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to communicate your success to your sphere of influence. And I know what your argument is. You've got 3,000, 4,000 people on your personal page, and you have a following, and that following needs to know that you're successful. Well, I get that. And yes, it's about staying top of mind in front of the people that obviously know us, when we want them to think of us when they think of real estate. But communicating your success and advertising or soliciting can often be two different things. So I'm going to strongly encourage you to take a step back for just 1 minute before you either delete me off of your computer or whatever you're watching on, and just hang in there for a minute, and let's talk about separating the two. Advertising your clients' properties and promoting yourself are two different things. So you want to communicate that you're successful, and we all do. But communicating success requires that you almost create a relationship with people before you tell them how successful you are. And if you're out there soliciting them without their permission on your personal profile on Facebook, you don't necessarily have their permission. In fact, you don't. Nobody signs up for Facebook and friends Kimberly Allard so that they can be solicited to. That's not part of the Facebook agreement. But I friend you or you friend me so that we can maybe get to know each other as much as you can know somebody on social media. Some people don't share a lot and some people share too much. But anyways, you're giving permission to get to know each other socially. So let's talk about the difference between promoting yourself in order to create business for yourself down the road, and then what you're actually doing with advertising. So here we have, and again, if you're listed in any of these pictures, I'm not telling you that these are bad. I'm just telling you that they're soliciting. And these were all on personal pages and available to the public. So I'm not sharing anything that was private. These are all public. And let's just look at, you sit down on Facebook at 8 o'clock at night or 8:30, or maybe you're up at the crack of dawn at 5:30 flipping through your feed. And some of this stuff ends up on your feed. Okay, so here's one, Motivational Monday, and this woman here in the upper left has lost a tremendous amount of weight. I am thrilled for her. Some of you are giggling, I know, but look, it's a great accomplishment. But the person that made this post is soliciting, trying to sell a product that helps with weight loss, and it's on my personal page. Let's go down a little bit further in the middle. It's Skincare Sunday, and this is the last step to your skincare routine, and you can buy this dermatological benefit. Again, I'm being solicited to before and after pictures. These people are quite lovely. This might even be Roden and Fields. I'm not quite sure. Again, could be a great product. I don't want to see it on my Facebook page. Now, I am not talking about the feed on Facebook. You're looking at your screen and the paid advertising on the right. Those are people that have paid to appear based upon what my interests are. And I get that. That's fine. That's part of why Facebook is so successful. It has a bunch of people that have subscribed for free, and then it gets paid advertisement. These are not paid advertisements. These are personal posts people have made that appear on your page because you friended them with the intention of a social relationship, but now they're soliciting to you. Up top, Transformational Tuesday. Geez, we seem to have hit all the months. We've got days. We got Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, and there's going to be a nutritional cleansing and an intermittent fasting. Again, selling you a product. And then on the far right, we've got exercise. You know what? Great. You want to exercise in your basement? That's fabulous. Many of you know me. Let's just say there's a lacking in my area of commitment to morning exercise. I don't have a problem with exercise, but don't solicit me on my page unless I've asked to see it. So I want you, the purpose of this, again, is not to make fun of any of these products or people, but simply say, how do you feel when you're solicited to by friends and family for nutritional cleansing, green drinks, miracle powders, exercise programs, whatever? I think you get a little aggravated. And here's the disaster of social media and why I think we're getting it wrong is, what do you do as a consumer or as a friend or a social media follower when this stuff shows up on your page? You get tired of it. Remember that game Farmville or something? We all got tired of it. So what do? We blocked it. So you either block or unfollow. So if now all of a sudden all of my friends that are promoting these products, I block or unfollow, when they really have something of value to share with me, I'm not even going to think of them. And let's just substitute real estate here. So now I have a real estate ad and people are tired of looking at it, or I have a real estate post on my personal feed and people are tired of seeing it. They're going to block or unfollow me. And I can't tell on my personal page when I'm being blocked or unfollowed. Now, I could be unfriended, and that I would be able to see that in my daily friend count. But blocking and unfollowing are not, I don't see that information. So now what has happened? I've taken my 5,000 friends and now I've offended them and now they're blocking me. And now when they have a real estate need, I'm no longer on their radar because they're not thinking of me. So epic fail. You want to stay in front of people, but promoting a product that they've not necessarily given you permission to see or solicit them is not the way to do it. And let's talk about why. Here's, again, you can still disagree with me and say, oh no, all my 5,000 friends really do want to see what I do for work on Facebook. Okay, Well, let's look at what your obligation is. In the regulations 254.3 are professional standards of practice, specifically advertising real estate. Item 9 refers to advertising. And it says a brokerage shall not advertise in any way that is false or misleading. Okay, well, you don't think you're being false or misleading. These are real houses. Well, let's look at paragraph A. It says no broker may advertise real property to purchase, sell, rent, mortgage, exchange through any classified advertisement or otherwise. And otherwise means social media, okay? And unless they affirmatively disclose that he or she is a real estate broker / brokerage. Now, let me clear this up for you. Back in the day when Kim Allard got her broker's license and she opened up Kimberly Allard Brokerage, you know, all I needed to do was disclose the name of my brokerage. And if it's Kimberly Allard Realty, then I can advertise as Kimberly Allard Realty. Well, the name of my brokerage is not Kimberly Allard Realty. It's usually, again, in my case, it would be Century 21 Professionals. So I must use the name of my brokerage if I am properly identified as a company or an LLC or any type of corporate entity. So when we know the rest of it, you can't do anything where it's just a post office box or a telephone number or a facsimile. Anybody using facsimiles? Or just a street address. So all advertisement shall include the name of the real estate brokerage. Going back to what are you trying to accomplish? You're trying to promote your client's listing, or you're trying to promote an open house. I can assure you that nobody is searching for Kimberly Allard on Facebook to find open houses this weekend. I can be pretty certain that they may be searching under the name of your brokerage on Facebook. But if you have omitted the name of your brokerage, not only are you in violation of 254 CMR 3(9) Section A, but nobody's going to see you anyway. So there you go. There's another reason to put the name of your brokerage. But again, why is all of this a concern? We're not supposed to advertise in a way that is false or misleading, and by not listing the name of your brokerage, the consumer may not know that you are a licensee. Let's look at this a little bit further. We talked about the fact that you can't advertise property to purchase, sell, rent, mortgage, exchange. So can you promote yourself as a real estate agent? Sure, I'm guessing. But you can't advertise a property, again, purchase, sell, rent, mortgage, or exchange, and then again, classified advertisement or otherwise. Now, let me just remind you all that back, I don't know how many years ago, whenever it was, I'm going to go back to maybe the mid-2000s, that there used to be a period of time where all the advertisements, and it may still work this way in your office and print, where you had to provide your print advertisements to an office administrator or your broker, or somebody had a responsibility. They gathered all the ads, they put them all together and send them off to whatever media publication, print publication you are using. And then those ads were published. So here's the rule of thumb that I like to tell you. If you can't do a print screen of your social media post, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, I don't care what you're using. If you can't do a print screen of that post and march in to the Boston Globe or the Worcester Telegram or the Springfield Republican or whatever they're called across the state, if you can't walk into that office, that newspaper and say, print this, you can't do it on social media otherwise. You can't do it on the back of a grocery cart. You can't do it on a billboard. You can't do it. So think of print advertising. Social media is no different than print advertising was, 10 or 15 years ago, and those of you that are still using it now. So as we move on, again, you must disclose that you are the name of your brokerage. Now, you may be a broker. I am a broker, but again, that's not the name of my brokerage. So in the event that I'm not a sole proprietor, I must use the name of my brokerage. We talked about that. We've talked about that. And let's look at the second section of this. It talks about under, again, 254 CMR 3, item 9, there's A and B. So B, which is very interesting, and I want all of you to take a minute, and if you're wandered off to another project, just direct your heads back to this screen. It says salespersons are prohibited from advertising, and let me remind you what comes after that. There's a period. It's not but, it's not and, it's not except, it's not only if. Salespeople are prohibited from advertising. That's right. If you have a salesperson's license, you are prohibited from placing an advertisement for a property, purchase, sale, rent, exchange under your own name. Well, you say, well, people are doing it all the time. Well, yes, they are, but it's also similar to going to a closing and not having to bring the escrow funds, but instead those escrow funds switch to your commission. It's understood that you're holding money in an escrow account, and once the deed is recorded, then it becomes your commission. Well, this is just the same type of work around here. You are prohibited from advertising as a licensed salesperson in the state of Massachusetts. However, you do advertise, but it's with the understanding that your broker has given you permission to advertise on their behalf. And that means you're advertising as the broker. So if you're posting on social media, it's not Kimberly Allard, it's the brokerage Century 21 Professionals has given me permission to post on their behalf. So guys, salespeople are prohibited from advertising, period. If there's any questions, we'll be taking those, but it's all right here for you in black and white, or actually orange, black and white. Orange is my favorite color. All righty. So let's talk about teams for a minute. Teams are a great thing. Not new to our business. They've been around for quite a while, but you need to understand that as of this webinar, teams are a construct of your brokerage. Nobody, quite frankly, cares about your team as far as regulations go. And that's not meant to disparage teams in any way, but you don't have any special treatment. You don't have any workaround. So if you are on a team, you cannot advertise your team as the brokerage. Now, I know a lot of you are encouraged to brand yourselves. You're encouraged to brand your team. You're encouraged almost to separate yourself from the brokerage, when in effect, that is exactly what the state of Massachusetts, and I'm also guessing our Realtor Association, does not want you to do. You cannot separate yourself from your brokerage. You want to advertise you're an independent contractor. You want to talk about how, you're a business, you're an entrepreneur, fine. But at the end of the day, you work for a brokerage. And therefore, you as an individual and a team are not permitted to advertise unless you're including the name of your brokerage. If you say to me, well, my team did this and my team wants to do that, guys, simply remove the word team and put in the word salesperson. The rules are the same. There are no separate rules for teams. Now you say to me, well, my team has a broker. My team leader, or the person that runs my team, is a broker. I'm sorry, the broker is the team leader, or the broker in a team is not the brokerage. Okay, so again, team does not allow for any special treatment or allow for any special advertising. Now, some of you have been told by your accountants to go out and get licensed for tax purposes, or incorporate. So you're an LLC or you're an LLP or whatever your entity is. But if that team now becomes a corporation or a business entity, now that team needs to be licensed as a broker. Okay, so make sure you're not operating an unlicensed entity as a team, and still doesn't make you the brokerage. You're still working for a company that's a broker, and the brokerage is only one that you're working for. So be careful of what you create for yourself. Any team advertising, just as any salesperson's advertising, must contain the name of the brokerage. And at the time of this webinar, Massachusetts is in the process of putting together some best practices for teams. I will tell you that if you have your own logo, that's great. But again, the consumer should be able to look at a social media post or any type of advertisement and easily identify who the broker is. Okay, so just make sure it's not misleading. But that was a quick discussion on teams. So let's just assume that you've rejected all of this, but you're a realtor and you bleed realtor blue blood. Well, let's look at our code of ethics. Our code of ethics says realtors shall be honest and truthful in their real estate communication and present a true picture. Well, if you're presenting yourself out there as you're not disclosing that you're licensed, or your status as a real estate professional isn't readily apparent, then you may not be presenting a true picture. And furthermore, Article 12 says realtors shall ensure that their status as real estate professionals is readily apparent in their advertising, marketing, or other representations. Now, in some places, in other countries, oh boy, in other states, it is permitted that they have a one-click rule, meaning, well, if you click on my social media post, it'll take you to my website where it tells you who my broker is. We don't have a one-click rule in Massachusetts. It must be upfront and visible right there. Again, if I did a print screen of this and walked into a newspaper, would they print this for me with, as it appears? So, and honestly, I believe that one-click rule might have been to take into consideration Twitter, when Twitter had a restricted text feed or number of characters in their posts. But Twitter, I think, is up to 240 or 280 now. There's no reason why out of 100 letters you can't make, a dozen of them the name of your brokerage. So Article 12 requires that you are honest and truthful and you present a true picture, and that your status as a real estate professional is readily apparent in your advertising, marketing, and other representations. Okay, I'm going to just jump in here and add something. If you're a part of a social media group or a chat room that is open to members of the public, and you're in there saying, anything, you're making any comments regarding real estate, it's in your best interest to make sure that you asterisk at your bottom of your post, full disclosure, I'm licensed to sell real estate in Massachusetts. Otherwise, the consumer doesn't know that what you're providing in this representation is coming from a real estate professional. So just think about that when you're out there making posts on social media. Again, the Code of Ethics standard of practice now supporting Article 12 says you shall not advertise nor permit any person affiliated by you, so all the broker owners out there, yes, this is your responsibility, to advertise real estate services or list property on any medium without disclosing the name of that realtor's firm in a reasonable and readily apparent manner. So again, so many of you are trying to squeeze the name of your brokerage in tiny little letters. This tells me one thing. Your goal is not to actually sell the property, because if it was, you would be using the name that would get you the most eyeballs, and that would be the name of your brokerage. Instead, you're really just promoting yourself and disguising it as promoting your client. And we all know what you're doing. So just stop. Standard of Practice 12.5 supports Article 12. So, I promised I'd give you some tips. Where do you start? Maybe you've been doing this miserably or wrong, for the last 5 years, 5 months, whatever. Let me give you some tips. First of all, complete your personal profile and your business profile. Yes, that is me on the left. Probably the last time I wore a dress and carried a purse. As you can see, 50-something years later, my mouth is still open. I think that was my first closing presentation. I was thrilled. Again, complete your profile. If you want to create relationships with people on social media, they need to know a little bit about you. And every one of us lurks on social media. So we would go out and say, I maybe met Kim somewhere, but I'm not quite sure what her last name is. I forget where she works. Let me lurk for her on social media, see if I can find her, and then see what I can find out about her. Oh, yes, she does handle real estate in this area. Some of us, you go to our personal pages and we've got them locked down like I don't know, what do you lock down? A safe in your house, right? Lauren's looking at me like, what are you talking about? Guys, once you become a real estate agent, and obviously we're talking to realtors here, and a realtor, you've given up the hopes of privacy, really. Now, I know that flies in the face of everything we've learned about security, but you can't walk into the local Whole Foods without being recognized. I don't know why you think you're going to lock your social media profile down. If you're able to, great. Your personal page, you lock it down. That's your business practice, great. And you have a business. You lock down your personal page and you have a business page. That's fine. But most of us have an open personal page that can be viewed by people or friends of friends. If that's the case, make sure your information is properly populated so people know where you work. And make sure there are photos of you, something hopefully from a recent decade. Update your profile photo. Let people know if you're a Realtor member and what association you're a Realtor member of, and let them know a little bit about who you are. And do the same on your business page. Get your business page properly populated with appropriate business information, and make sure people can tell the difference between your business page and your personal page. Use a professional headshot on your business page. Make sure your logo is on your business page. So many of you have taken your business pages and populated it with pictures of either your team logo or your individual logo. Guys, again, that's not against the rules, but if you want to use it for advertising, your business page needs to contain the name of your brokerage. But anyways, complete your profiles and make sure the consumer knows you're a licensee. This only works in your interest. Let's talk about some of my miserable failures. First of all, again, here I am. This is a sample post. I didn't actually post this one because it's locked down, as you can see. But again, Kimberly gets out there on Facebook, new listing, multifamily won't last for long. Now, let's look at what I did here on my personal page. If you insist on still soliciting people on your personal page, if you use the MLS PIN social share, and for those of you that are working in the Berkshires or Cape and Islands, know that they may have access to this, or they have their own MLS, which may offer similar features. When I use the social share from MLS Property Information Network, this is what it looks like, and I want you to pay close attention to where that red arrow is pointing. My brokerage name comes across with my name in my listing, and there is no way to separate that. So this is the safest way to share your listings anywhere on Facebook. We're going to move down so I can show you exactly where that is, because all of you are saying, where is that on MLS PIN? Here it is. There's your MLS PIN listings page. We're under listings. Your on market listings, big red arrow is pointing right there to the button called social share. Now, those of you that have brokerage or office management privileges in MLS PIN can, if you see, I don't know if you can actually see it, but if you look, I'm looking at the listings for another one of my agents. So you can go in, if somebody has admin responsibilities in MLS PIN, they can actually go in and do all the social sharing for all the agents. You may or may not want to do that. But you hit the social share button, and what will come up is this page. Now look at it. It's got all the listings, photos, it's got all the facts, and it's got all my brokerage information as populated through my MLS PIN profile. Guys, this may be the time to log into MLS PIN and make sure your photo, your email, your address, all your information is correct. And then from there, you would simply click on up top, it says Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. You click on where you want to share it. So the next thing that'll come up is Facebook. And so many of you have said to me, well, why does MLS PIN allow me to share it on Facebook if I'm not supposed to be doing that? Wait a minute. Let's think about this. MLS PIN allows you to share it. You're the one that chooses where you're going to share it. So this is important. You're going to get this box that comes up and it says share on Facebook. If you look the next box down, it says share on your timeline. You want to click the little white down arrow and select share on a page you manage. It's likely the last option or close to the last option. You don't want to share on your timeline. That's your personal page. Now you're soliciting to people that you haven't given you permission to do so. You click share on a page that you manage, and it will give you any business pages that you have the option to put it there. And if you've named your business page with the name of your brokerage, you're in compliance that way. You're also in compliance because of the way that MLS posts your listings. Now, if you're going to share something from a virtual tour or from realtor.com, you may have different results. So, okay, we've already seen that one. So look, let's talk about again, how effective this is. So this was a real post by me from MLS. You see that this actually was on my business page. So now it says Century 20 Professionals, Kimberly Allard. This is my business page. And I posted it, and up comes the name of my brokerage. So in 2 places, my brokerage name is listed. So I'm in compliance there. But let's talk about, do your listings actually belong on your Facebook personal page? We've talked a little bit about it. I say no, and so does NAR. You know, I will just tell you this. Do you walk into church? Well, let's assume that if you do go to church, do you walk into church and say, you know, God bless you, here's a copy of my listing. May the Lord be with you. Here's a copy of my listing. You know, bless you. Here's a copy of my listing. It's not appropriate. You're there with people that might share common beliefs in religion or whatever group that you belong to, but it is not the time to solicit people. So this is why I say the damage you could be doing and the disasters you could be creating by alienating people. People may not want to then therefore go and sit with you at church, or maybe they would choose not to work with you on a committee at whatever group you're part of because they know they're going to be solicited. Whereas if they knew you were in the business, but you didn't make it uncomfortable for them and you didn't solicit them, then perhaps they would come to you later on when they had a real estate need. So do you really know the amount of damage you're doing when you think you're advertising on your clients, but you're really just promoting yourself on your personal page? So you say, well, I don't have anything to put on a business page. And guys, I am whipping through this because we're going to wrap up quickly, and I want you to have time for questions and answers. And this is actually a 2-hour class that you can take at a later time. You can call MAR or your local association or your brokerage, but you know, and I do talk a little bit more in those classes on content, but you've got a variety of choices available to you, all sorts of reports, your local realtor association, your state, your brokerage, House Logic, Realtor Magazine, all sorts of reports, etc. So you have a bunch of content to post on your business page, and Facebook will also tell you that you should know that if you have a personal profile and you're acting as a business, it could be deactivated or automatically converted to a page because it violates the policy. And if you are truly acting in your client's best interest, promoting a property, and you want to boost a post to advertise and target your property as a true advertisement and not just a personal post, then you must have a business page because you cannot get analytics or boost a post on a personal page. So let's look at that quickly. Here's my old screenshot of my business page. I want to point out a couple of things. On the right, you see your post reaches, your engagement, your website clicks. Down at the bottom, you see people that my post reached at the time after 8 hours. You can schedule posts, you get notifications. You cannot get any business insights on a personal Facebook post. If you're posting through your business page, your advertisement will have analytics and you can see how each post performs. So again, why in the world are you doing this on your personal page if you're trying to promote your seller's listing? How do you even tell them what you got? Oh, I got 5 likes. A like doesn't equate to eyeballs, meaning how many people your post got in front of. Quickly boosting. So you have a listing, you choose to promote the listing and you can boost it. I'm just going to show you very quickly through this post right here. I think I spent $30. Organically, I would have received, let's see, does it say organically? It doesn't, but if you look at the bottom where it's a little orange bar, I think it was probably 100 organic eyeballs I would have received on this one. And by paying $30, you can see I reached 9,558 people, of which 27 reached out, liked it, 22 indicated that they liked it, 18 made a comment on the post, 1 person actually blocked it because it wasn't appropriate. But those are analytics, guys. That's what you get off a business page. And I want to remind you, in social media or any advertisement, when you are advertising a property, talk about the property and not the people that you would see in that property. You know, we have a lot of language that's questionable out there, and I know some of it's permissible, but best practice is always talk about the property, not who you think would, the people that you think would be in this property. That's another class. Okay, quickly, this is what you're going to get. You're going to actually see, when are your fans online? When are the people that follow your page most likely to see a post? So you can see I'm not posting in the morning here. Most of my folks are online in the evening. Can you tell your clients that, or do you know how you're going to spend your ad money? Again, let's look at some fails. Here's one of my posts, 2015. It was a fail. Why? It looks like a commercial photo. That's Quincy Center, guys. And if you know Quincy Center, I don't even know how I got that photo without a car or a person in it. So it looks generic. It looks sterile. 52 people reached that photo. There's no people in it. That nobody was tagged. That's a miserable fail and a thumbs down. Let's look at the next photo here. These poor guys were working all day to clean out that huge Victorian. 1,500 people reached. Why? My sign is in it. The people are in it. There's, people like, oh, I think I know those guys. There's an image, graphic image, or the text. It's sold. Yeah, that's successful. And when you consider that I maybe only have 300 or 500 people on my business page, to get in front of 1,500, I'm happy about that. And I could have boosted that post, but that was all organic. Let's talk about, what we think we're doing and we think it's right. Well, this is how I learned that people don't really care. Don't miss this one. Tons of bells and whistles, Rockland. Again, I shared a link. 56 people. People don't care. They really don't. When you look at what you're doing on social media, when you're advertising, this is a story. It's a success story. People identify with that. This is an advertisement. People just aren't interested. We'll move down. Sales prices in June. Again, this was 2014, but you're trying to share information. MAR is a great source. 24 people. No one's really interested. When people want information, they usually will go find it. But again, this wasn't a huge success. And this one, sadly, when Arkansas Realtor Beverly Carter was killed, this was a huge issue for us. And again, I'm not making light of this, but 16 people, 16 folks. It's just, folks aren't really interested in things unless it affects them personally. So let's give you some more tips and tricks. You're going to get out there on your business page, or if you insist on using your personal page, you must have the name of your brokerage in the text. So here's an ad, or here's a business post. In fact, I just put this up yesterday. And you go through all your text, but you look at some things that are in here. Use hashtags. Hashtags so they can be found. Are people going to go, if they're going to look for property, they're going to search for a hashtag, for sale, sold, South Shore, wherever the town is. You see my brand is there, Century 21. My name, if you think your name draws a lot of interest. Again, I'm pretty certain nobody's searching Facebook with my hashtag looking for property for sale. They may look for a town or a brand. So just some tips. Use a hashtag. Make sure you are trying to get as most information. Now you'll notice what I shared here was a tour from a photography company, and the name of my brokerage does not come over in that tour. So MLS does. This particular tour does not. Let's look at another one. Now this one here is my business page. It's the same link, but it's my personal page. And again, this was a joke in big blue letters. It says, do not post like this. But I put, woohoo, new listing. I'm fantastic. All my friends want to see my listings on their personal feed. That's a joke. Don't do that. And you can, again, see that I locked this one down. This was just to demonstrate. But this is my personal page. I brought this one over, as you can see, from Realtor.com. Realtor.com does not grab the name of your brokerage. So even though you're sharing from a realtor approved site or something you think would be acceptable, the fact that my brokerage name is not mentioned anywhere on this screenshot is a problem. Okay. So what do we have? Educate your teams, social media business pages, use a business page. I don't know why again, again, it's one of two things. Either you're advertising, which means you must use a business page, or you can't boost a post and you can't get analytics. So that's how you advertise. You can't say, oh, I'm advertising your listing, but you put a flyer on your front desk at your office. That's not advertising. Nobody's seeing it. So if you're posting on your personal page, it's essentially just sticking a flyer on the front desk of your office. Really, not a lot of people are going to see that. But if you must do that, and you insist on doing it, make sure it contains the name of the brokerage. If you are a team leader or you run an office, you're the broker of record or a responsible broker, maybe put together templates for advertising. Why wouldn't you want all of your brokerage ads to be consistent? Some brokers do a great job at this. They say, look, here's our ad template, and the office appears actually bigger than it is because it's continuity. We are responsible as brokers or the broker of the office to double check the agent's posts. They're independent contractors, but if they run afoul of this rule, then you are the broker and you're responsible. If you want to advertise properly, be prepared to show your clients analytics. Talk about boosting posts and the benefits and the cost of that. Compare results in your office if you want with how did your boost go? How did your post go? Talk about social media. And last but not least, make sure you have a social media policy in your office. And if you are an agent in an office that doesn't have a social media policy, offer to help your broker put one together. Some legal concerns, obviously licensing law, nobody wants to go to real estate jail. Fair housing, code of ethics, guys, watch what you're putting out there. Avoid false statements. Defamation and libel are definitely not our friends, and copyright infringement. Don't be posting other people's photos without their permission. Don't be grabbing stuff off of Google without knowing you have the right to reuse it. So NAR has a lot of resources. You can go to NAR.Realtor and create a social media usage policy. There's a tip right there for you. And if after all of this you really think I'm just full of it, please go to the Division of Professional Licensure's Board of Real Estate Brokers and Salespersons, or text me or email me, and I would be happy to share with you their frequently asked questions, specifically items 4 and 5 that direct towards social media advertising, which say it is clear that the name of the brokerage must be in all advertising. And if you see it being done, give somebody a heads up, ask them to correct their blind ad, because that's what it is. Ask them to remove it, or you're going to always have the opportunity to file a complaint with the Division of Professional Licensure. I want to thank you guys, and I believe that we have some time for questions.
Yes, we have a bunch of questions here. So thank you, Kimberly, so much for your presentation. It seems like a lot of people are very interested in this topic. If you have any questions, now's the time to write them in your chat box on your screen. Let's start with the first one here. What if I'm using my business page? I think we already covered that a little bit, but I'll let Kimberly expand on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, from a practical standpoint, why wouldn't you? It offers you all the tools to properly advertise. Regardless of what you're using on social media, if you're not using a business page or anything, it has to have the name of your brokerage.
Is it okay to combine your personal and professional page?
Well, and combine, I'm not quite sure if I understand that properly, but a page, a personal profile on Facebook is separate than a business page. You have to have a personal profile to then click the button that says create a business page. They can't be combined. I believe if you have duplicate business pages, you can merge them, but they are two separate things on Facebook. So some people have said, well, how about I make a post on my business page and then share it on my personal page? Again, as long as your business page contains the name of your brokerage, you can share it wherever you like.
Okay, can salespeople share the broker's Facebook post that promotes a home for sale?
Excellent question, and the answer is yes. If the broker, as long as the brokerage is used, some offices prohibit their agents from doing any social media. Instead, they have one person in the office that does all the brokerage social media. But yes, then you can grab that and share it on your page, but you just want to make sure that you're retaining the portion of the post, and usually in Facebook it happens that way, that says that it's a, the name of the brokerage.
Again, I think we talked about this, but to reiterate, can a salesperson advertise a property on their Facebook business page with brokerage name in the post?
Yeah, great question. You want to use your personal page. Kimberly Allard, come to my open house Saturday. I've seen people say powered by, and then they say the name of their brokerage, brought to you by the name of their brokerage. Kimberly Allard, licensee affiliated with. Yeah, as long as the consumer can tell the name of the brokerage that has the listing.
Am I allowed to produce a Facebook or a paid Facebook ad for an open house or new listing under my professional Facebook page?
Yeah, so in fact, the answer to that is you can only do it under your Facebook page, because you couldn't pay for an ad in Facebook with a personal profile. I don't believe there's any tool that allows you, when you're logged in under your personal profile, to say I want to pay for an ad. So you'd have to switch over to your business profile page to pay for an ad. And if your business profile page has the name of, again, if my business profile page is named Kimberly Allard sells real estate in the South Shore, or I'm a South Shore realtor, that still doesn't, Facebook would allow me to advertise that way, but you're not going to meet the Massachusetts requirement that you're advertising in the name of the brokerage. So in the post, it would then have to say, brokerage, and list the name of your brokerage.
Can a salesperson, with permission of their broker, create a Facebook business page with the name, for example, John Doe ABC Realty?
Right. So that's a great question, and I may have not have mentioned, but all of this is certainly with your broker's permission. Your broker should have a policy on social media and advertising. Your broker may prohibit you from advertising, and that's their right. But if they permit you to advertise, and they permit you to advertise on social media, you want to say to them, hey, what is your policy on me creating a business page that includes the name of our brokerage? Again, your broker could deny you the right to use the brokerage name on your business page as its title. But then now you just have to go that extra step to make sure that when you post, again, if my business page is entitled Kimberly Allard South Shore Realtor, doesn't tell the consumer who the brokerage is, and let's say my office prohibits me from using the name of my brokerage in the title, I am required by law to put the name of the brokerage in the post, and your broker can't prohibit you from doing that.
What about posting photos of an area on Facebook business page? Do those posts, like of beaches, need to have a brokerage name on every post?
Again, great question. I believe, and we'll go back up here, I believe it talks about, the regulation talks about when you're promoting property to sell, buy, exchange, mortgage, or rent. So no. So if you were just saying, hey, I'm from Braintree and this is a lovely area, that technically in my mind is not an advertisement of a property that is, where am I here? You guys get the idea, I think. Oh, here we go. I'm not advertising a specific property to purchase, sell, rent, mortgage, exchange, or otherwise. So I think you'd be fine. But if you then specify certain properties, now you're in trouble. But again, I'm going to argue, guys, with you that why would you go out there on your own as an individual and not use the name of your brokerage? Because you think somebody's going to find that on social media, they're likely going to find it or identify you with the name of your brokerage and not without it.
Okay. How do you get people to like your business page?
Excellent question, and a lifelong problem, I think, for all of us. I made the mistake early on in Facebook, and whenever Facebook came out, 2010 or 8 or something like that, we all grabbed personal pages, and then we didn't realize that all these rules were in place, and how this new generation of communicating and advertising, we still had to follow some rules. So none of us really properly initiated a business page, and now we're kind of backpedaling. So my advice to you is, in your email signature, make sure you're using your Facebook business page link. Connect with me here. Do promotions if they're permitted in your office and legally permitted in Massachusetts. You know, like my business page for the month of March, and, you know, I'll be raffling off whatever. Promote your business page. Maybe you go out there and spend some money with just a I don't want to say vanilla ad, but hey, Kimberly Allard, real estate agent in Braintree, and maybe I spend some time promoting that and asking people to follow it. The problem that we have, the reason why people don't know anything about our business pages is because we're not properly advertising with hashtags and language that would direct people to them, which is why they don't necessarily find them. But again, I'm going to reiterate this. I'm going to argue that the 300 people on a business page that want to know what you're doing and have agreed to follow you are a far better audience than 3,000 friends that you're just going to aggravate at 8 o'clock at night.
When I add a client's picture on my business page, I usually ask for permission via text or email. Should I have them sign something, or could I continue doing it this way?
They say a client's picture was the question?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it's, what is it a picture of? It's of them or their kids or something. Yes, you know, it's always a good idea to ask people before you post. If it's a picture of their property, I believe your exclusive right to sell contains language, and you do want to check it with your principal, but I believe it contains language that gives you, or gives the brokerage, authorization to photograph the property and then you know, share that on public social media or on the internet. So I don't know that you need extra permission outside of that, but I would see what your listing agreement allows you to do. But if you're given the right to take photos and use those photos in advertising, again, I would say that that advertising includes social media. So you don't need additional written permission.
If you're advertising on your page and you add in the brokerage name, is it acceptable if it's spelled out fully in a hashtag only?
Well, I think that the regulation's silent on that, but, and I'm not legal counsel, and I'm often reminded of that, so I would just, you know, caution you all. However, and I'm going to say this on a recorded device, apparently, if you did hashtag Century 21 Professionals in the body of your post, I think that that would probably satisfy people. You know, we can't get people to post properly. If they could post it with the hashtag, I think it's fine. However, if you post C21 Pros, no, that's not going to work. C21 Professionals, that's not going to work. And a lot of you work for companies that have pretty long DBA names, and that's really what you're supposed to be using. Again, I argue, why would you want to dumb it down? Why wouldn't you want to advertise your brokerage? So yeah, I think the hashtag is fine.
Okay. For the business Facebook page, the name of the page, does it need to include the brokerage name? For example, Real Estate Solutions by John Smith is not acceptable. It must be Real Estate Solutions by John Smith at Keller Williams, ?
So I'm glad you asked that question. Facebook doesn't require you to put the name of your brokerage in. It's simply my suggestion because according to our code of ethics and according to CMR 254.3, we are required to identify or affirmatively disclose that we're the name of our brokerage. So if I was a broker of an office, which I am, then it would be my intention to require all of my affiliated agents and brokers to make sure that the name of our DBA, our brokerage, is in their business page, because then they can just post wherever they want and make it just easy, and they don't have to remember. If it's not in the name of their business page, then I have to really police every single ad that they're doing. So you know, Facebook doesn't require it, but the code of ethics and CMR 254.3 does require that it's there. So why wouldn't you just make it easy for yourself and put it in the name of your no? So here's an argument. Your Twitter handle or your Twitter name, where your Twitter feeds appear, or maybe your Instagram, maybe doesn't allow you to have a name that and maybe it's not long enough, or there's not enough characters for you to have a Twitter handle that spells out the name of your brokerage. What if your brokerage is Caldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, et cetera, et cetera? I'm not saying that's a bad name. I'm just giving you an example. You know, there may not be space in a Twitter handle for that. So you would be forced to put it in the text of the social media post. But in Facebook, you can do it on a business page.
Do you present this program for individual office meetings?
Yes, I do. You can contact me directly. I have a 2-hour social media program, and I can certainly customize it for your office. And if your office has certain policies that they'd like to focus on, I can do that.
Can I convert my personal page to a business page instead of having 2 separate pages?
Yeah, good question. So here's something, I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of people have 2 personal pages, and by personal page, I mean Facebook definition. So it would be, let's say I have a profile on Facebook that's Kimberly Allard, and then if you have to log out and log back in as Kimberly Allard Realtor, that's just 2 personal profiles, and that's not accomplishing what you want. I would merge those 2 together, and then I would create a business page from that one personal file. But yeah, a personal profile with a name in it doesn't mean it's a business page. So you might be compliant in that it's, like, for example, if I opened a personal profile that said Kimberly Allard, Century 21 Professionals, it might be compliant for advertising, but it's still a personal page, and I have none of the tools available to me. So you're just cutting yourself short there.
If I produce a Facebook ad for a listing or open house, do I have to include my broker's logo and all the images associated with the ad?
So that would be up to your broker. Again, you want to follow what your office policies are. You use the word image. So as far as the state, licensing board is concerned, as long as it affirmatively discloses that you're a real estate broker and the name of your brokerage is in there, that's fine. Images, that's up to you. I mean, I think it would be a great idea to watermark all our images so that, every time a client flips through an image on Facebook, watermarked with the name of your brokerage, but it's not required, so there's no image requirements.
Can we advertise another agent's listing on my business Facebook page?
Oh, that's a good question. And now that's an MLS rule. I'm on a slippery slope here because I'm not an MLS expert. I do believe, and again, please check with your broker and or MLS PIN, but as long as you're identifying, again, you have to be truthful in your advertising. So you can't be false or misleading. And if you are passing that listing on as your own or not disclosing whose listing it is, I think that, again, you're on a slippery slope. So if another broker posts something and you want to share it, look at this great listing brought to you by so-and-so, then I don't see a problem with it. But if you're passing it off as your own, you could be in trouble for a variety of reasons. But either way, if you're going to share somebody else's listing, you still need to disclose that you're working for a brokerage.
Do you recommend only sharing posts from brokerage page to business page, not from a legal standpoint as having the potential to annoy your Facebook friends?
I may not understand that question, but do I recommend sharing it from a brokerage page to your business page? Is that the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, by brokerage page, I don't know if you mean brokerage Facebook page or brokerage website. Either are fine. I think anything you can do to populate your business page with industry-related information is helpful. So it really doesn't matter where it comes from as long as it contains the name of your brokerage and it's appropriate to your business page. But the last part of your question was absolutely, you want to be careful with what you put on your personal page because it's soliciting, not, people don't want to be sold. Everybody loves to buy, but not they don't want to be sold.
How do you change the Facebook link in MLS?
Facebook link in MLS. So I don't know that the MLS has a Facebook link, but if you're talking about when you go to social share and the page comes up, and I think we did it right here. I don't know how far I'm going to scroll through here. Oh, there we go. So if your page opens up in Facebook, and this is what you see, and you click on the Facebook link and MLS pin, you come to here, it's automatically going to open in your personal profile. It's up to you to click on share to a page you manage. Now, sometimes if you're logged in as somebody else, so God forbid you're working under somebody else's Facebook profile, you have a page open in Chrome or Safari that's, let's say I'm logged in as Lauren. No, Lauren, I don't log in as you, but if I did, when I clicked on the link on another Chrome tab, it may open me up in Lauren's profile. So just make sure you're not in anybody else's profile in another tab on Chrome or Safari.
So if an agent has a business page and they take a post from their business page that has the logo and company name, does it need to have the broker's name on it, or is the company name enough?
Yeah, and I'm sorry if the terms are confusing. The CMR says broker, but what they mean by broker is the broker if it's a sole proprietor. So if I open Kimberly Allard Real Estate, I could advertise under that. But most of us work for people who have LLCs or LLPs or incorporated. So it's got to be the name of the brokerage.
Okay. What about the buyer's pictures when they close? Do you need written permission or verbal?
Gosh, well, that sounds like more of a legal question than a social media one. You know, I usually tell people when I'm taking their photos, smile, this is going on Facebook. And if they say no, no. And if they say yes, then you want to tag them because you're going to get that much more interest on the photo. But I don't get written permission, but you're also not advertising. You're congratulating your client unless you say, call me so I can do the same for you. That's still you're advertising yourself. You know, again, this is regarding a specific property. So a picture of a buyer being congratulated or something like that doesn't require necessarily brokerage disclosure.
Would you suggest letting your personal page followers know when you have decided to use your business page and direct them there in a post?
Yes, another great idea. I would do a promotion on your personal page, share your business page over on your personal page, maybe once a month or once every 6 months, and say, hey, everyone, you know, don't mean to mix business with pleasure, but wanted to let you know that over on my business page, you can find information on market statistics or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea because that's what you want to do is extract the people that are interested in real estate over to your business page where they can find that information.
And it looks like this is the last question of today. Do you know if there are any restrictions when it comes to collecting a person's name and email address through a paid Facebook ad? I'd like to grow my email list and build a relationship with them by educating and sharing valuable information.
Another great question, probably one for an attorney. I'm going to take a guess on this one and say that Facebook probably has an end user license agreement that when we all sign up to Facebook, we pretty much basically agree to be stalked by whoever's on our page and by whatever ads we respond to. However, I would caution that you just want to make sure you have that in place already, but I would be surprised to find out that Facebook doesn't already have permission from anybody on their subscribers to use their information, you know, for that purpose. If you start soliciting them for something else, I think we might have a problem, but again, you may want to double check with Facebook or your local attorney.
Okay, that looks like that's all the questions for today. As a reminder to everyone, this webinar has been recorded and will be available to view in the next few days on our website at marealtor.com. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for your presentation, and thank you to everyone for joining today. We hope to see you next time.